Today I'm going to answer the question as to why you should always do a pre-purchase vehicle inspection and not a post-purchase vehicle inspection after this. Welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel. And so today I just wanted to come down to a brief discussion about this 2015 Toyota Sienna that I've been working on all this time. So if you've been following my channel lately, you probably have noticed I put out a lot of these 2015 Sienna videos, but there are also other Siennas that I have worked on, but I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about this specific one that is that has the all-wheel drive equipped with this. This is the XLE Sienna. So now a friend of mine, he got rid of his old car and he purchased this vehicle without doing a full vehicle inspection. And now, as you can see, this van has been coming to me every so often to get some things fixed. And so at the time the customer purchased this van, it was listed used for $27,999, and so he did financing. I'm not sure how many years. I think like 5 years or so. And so with interest and everything, it ends up being about 40,000 or so. I calculated to roughly 48,000, and I can see that today's vehicles are severely overpriced. It's a hype market, but I know supply and demand and a bunch of other factors that you need to take into consideration in the market. So there's a lot of variables involved. And so he purchased this vehicle because his old car, it was not that bad, but it was burning a lot of oil. It was a 2010 Camry, and it had about 331,000 kilometers. The 2.5 liter 2AR FE engine, and those engines were known for burning oil because in the majority of those engines, they were not built correctly as to how they assembled the piston rings from the assembly line, and so they were prone to burning oil and scratching the cylinder walls, and so you would have to replace the entire engine with the block and the pistons and everything. The block was not usable because the cylinder walls were all damaged, overheated, and scratched up. And so anyhow, so he got rid of that because he wanted to buy a van. And the first day I saw this van, I found a bunch of problems. This is just too many to list. Like, I found that the radiator was leaking all across the seams. The water pump and the tensioner is very noisy. He hasn't fixed that yet. Exhaust leaks, bad oxygen sensors. It needed struts, tires, and a whole bunch of stuff. Just like regular repairs. This van only had 171,000 kilometers. 167,000 kilometers at the time it was for sale. And so it's been in a small front end wreck, not anything major, but the bumper doesn't line up and stuff. So Now I just noticed now there's a water intrusion in the fog lights on both of the front fog lights, and there are some clips that I made earlier. I'll post them later in the video for you guys to see. I noticed somewhat recently that the transmission has been replaced on this with a earlier model Sienna transmission from 2011 to 2012. This is a 2015, and I know about that the all-wheel drive, the U660F automatic transmission, the 6 speed. Those ones are known to fail for some reason. I'm not sure why. If it's because it's due to a maintenance issue, neglect of maintenance. But I've only seen the U660F, which is for the all-wheel drive version, fail. I have not really seen the U660E, which is the front wheel drive version of those transmissions. I've only seen the U660F of those fail. So the transmission has been replaced on this because I noticed that there's like writing on the bottom of the transmission. I'll show that later in the video. And and right away when I inspected this vehicle, I noticed that this van hasn't been maintained very well. It just has been to a quick lube shop. Usually vehicles that have been to quick lube shops are not really maintained because I know how the industry works. And these are people who don't want to spend any money on their vehicles. They just want to do the bare minimum. And usually those vehicles are not all that maintained. They may have changed their oil here and there every 8,000 or 10,000 or so. So, but still, when I see quick lube shop vehicles that have been serviced there, I know right away off the bat that those vehicles are not maintained as compared to other vehicles. It's not always the case, but because I have worked in some quick lube places back in my earlier years, I know how things run there. And so in a majority of cases, these are vehicles to stay away from. Now, I'm not bashing all quick lube places, but there are a majority of them. They don't really do a good job, so we really need to be careful. Uh, if I were you, my personal uh, preference and advice to you guys is to take your vehicle to a trusted mechanic shop of, of some sort, or just change the oil on your own if you are proficient and have some a little bit of the know-how, and you know how, and you're handy and stuff like that, then you can probably change your own oil at home. Otherwise, just take it to a mechanic shop that you trust, because usually uh, mechanic shops are a lot better because uh, these are the people who have been trained for many years and have many years of experience, so they know your vehicle. And so these are professional technicians and or mechanics working on your vehicle, rather than a high school dropout or a person who just finished high school or something, working at the quick lube and then destroying your car at the end. So all in all, so far this customer has probably spent roughly $10,000 in repairs and maintenance on this van since he bought it, and I'm not very happy about that. It's better for me because the money is going into my pocket, but still, I like, I'm an honest person, so I like to do honest work and I give honest advice. So I don't like these things happening to customers, because uh, when they buy these vehicles and they don't have it inspected, and then then I find out that there's a problem, there's issues with it, and they don't want to give up the vehicle, because giving up the vehicle is not really a choice in this case. So they just want to fix the issue, or issues. And so I feel really bad for these people. And so I just don't want people to get the screwed over. That's it. Although this is how I make a living, but still, I want to make sure that I'm taking care of the customer, so that the customer, in return, will take care of me and return back to me for service, right? So it's a two-way road. It's not a one-way street here. So you just want to make sure that you are taking care of the customer, and the customer is taking care of you, and that's pretty much how the world works, right? So I'm not sure if I'll do a second part, but that's just a brief discussion about purchasing a vehicle. You just should never ever purchase a vehicle just by looking at it on the outside and road testing it. Road testing it and looking at it at the outside is just a third of the story. The other story is that you really need to inspect the vehicle from underneath. You need to check the steering and suspension, check to see if it has any frame damage, or if it has been in any severe wrecks. You want to check the title of the vehicle, if the title has been rebuilt or salvaged or something. So you want to make sure that you'll be able to take over the ownership of this vehicle before you hand over your hard-earned dollars to the private seller or the used car uh, dealership. In this case, I didn't want to mention the name, but the name is already there, so there's not much I can do. They advertise their plates, uh, Tabangi Motors. I'm not blaming them, because all of the used car dealers and even the dealerships themselves, they all buy the vehicles uh, from the auction. And so when you buy stuff from the auction, you have no clue as to on what happened to the vehicle. There's always a surprises. My other advice is to not inspect the vehicle at nighttime. Always inspect it in the daytime, so you can see if there's any issues on the body panels, or any problems, because you can't see stuff at night. Scratches, dings, dents. So you need to be careful. You need to do your due diligence. Spend the extra a couple $100, or whatever it is, to take a vehicle that you are interested in. If it passes in your books, and then make sure that you take the vehicle to a trusted mechanic or mechanic shop to have a look at it for you, because those a couple $100 will take you a long way, that in order to prevent a vehicle that's in terrible condition. You want to protect yourself from being scammed, and you also want to protect yourself from vehicles that are basically a lemon, which have excessive problems. So you have to watch out for those things. So it's always advised that you take the vehicle in to a mechanic shop, and not to buy it like as if you are buying a chocolate bar. This is a huge purchase next to buying a house. So you have to be careful. You don't want to give your hard-earned dollars and find out that there's excessive problems with the vehicle that you are purchasing. Things like maintenance records. You want to see if there's any maintenance that have been done on the vehicle. If you don't see any maintenance records, then that would signify that there's a problem, and that's also going to signify that you will probably have major problems shortly or later down the road. So that's it for today. I'm going to conclude the video, and hopefully, if I need, I'll do a second part if needed. You guys let me know if you're interested. I'll make another video, and yeah, that's it. You can see the water intrusion in the fog lights on this side, and the same for the other side too. These are just some things to look for when you're buying a used vehicle. You can see here that the transmission has been replaced on this. This is a 2015 Sienna all-wheel drive, and you can see it said 11 to 12 low kilometers. Not sure on what the other writing says. It could be the initials or something of the salvage yard or junkyard that sells these parts or transmissions. So you can see they put in earlier model year transmission in a late model vehicle. So although it still works and functional, but it's just one key pointer to watch out for when you see like writing and stuff on parts. It's a sign that that these parts have been replaced. So it's just a word of caution, just to keep your eyes open or anything when you're looking for a used vehicle. You can see here there are paint marks on the oil pan and on the filter housing as well. That's also a sign that it could be a key sign of sometimes poor maintenance. Uh, this is usually a sign that a vehicle has been to like a quick lube or a lube shop. And usually vehicles that have been to lube shops are not really taken care of all that well, because those are the kind of people that spray or they put a mark on the drain plug or something to signify that they were the ones that did the work last. Usually professional technicians and mechanics don't normally write things on the drain plugs and the oil filter housing. It doesn't always mean that that's the case, but in a majority of cases, I've seen it time and time again that when I see spray paint on stuff like this, most likely than not, the vehicle hasn't been maintained all that well, and that's the case for this van, because this van needed 10 grand or so of repairs to make everything roadworthy. And so this van constantly needs work non-stop and maintenance. So that's how I know. You can see all that rust and the oil pan and stuff. That's eventually going to leak and give out at some point. I don't know when. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care.